While the war between the Autobots and Decepticons has primarily been fought across their homeworld of Cybertron and Earth, many other planets have become involved in the conflict over the years, as the Transformers have spread across the universe. This week, we're looking at the basics on the Cybertronian colonies founded on these other worlds, where new Transformer societies have wound up evolving along new and different paths. The idea of Transformers leaving Cybertron to found new civilizations on other planets was introduced in the original animated series. The two-part 1985 episode, Desertion of the Dinobots, established that early in the war with the Decepticons, many Autobots, outmatched by their enemies, chose to flee their homeworld and make new lives for themselves elsewhere in the universe. Later episodes saw the Transformers visit some of the planets on which these Autobot colonies had been founded, including Antilla, an advanced civilization that had been wiped out by a plague of cosmic rust, and Paradron, a peaceful, energy-rich world of pacifists hidden within a wormhole. Junkion, the planet of junk from the Transformers the movie, was implied to possibly be another such colony, while the 1987 Japanese original sequel series, The Headmasters, featured the planet Master, a dangerous world with a volatile, changeable climate, which had become home to a crew of tiny Transformers who invented Headmaster technology in order to survive its hazardous environment. This series also saw the present-day Autobots begin efforts to colonize new planets, starting with Athenia, which became their new primary base of operations when Cybertron was devastated by a Decepticon bombing. These efforts continued into 1989's Transformers Victory, which introduced planet Micro, colonized by the tiny Micromasters. Transformers abandoning Cybertron to leave the war behind has been a recurring concept occasionally touched upon by various other series over the years, whether they be Autobots or unaligned Transformers seeking peaceful new lives, or Decepticons in search of new conquests. But it was 2005's Transformers Cybertron that really brought Cybertronian colonies into the spotlight, with a new take on the idea that would define its place in Transformers lore going forward. This series was based around 4 long-lost colony planets, each home to its own unique Transformer civilization. Unlike earlier series, the story of these colonies began long before the war, in the forgotten past, when ancient Transformers set out to explore the universe in 4 great starships, intending to settle on other planets and build a space bridge network across the galaxy that would link them and Cybertron together. Each ship took with it one of the 4 Cyber Planet Keys, tiny fragments of the power of the Transformers' creator and god, Primus, which could cyberform other worlds, transforming them into mirror images of Cybertron itself. But for unknown reasons, the plan ended in failure. The planets were never cyberformed, the space bridge was never built, and the colonies were cut off from Cybertron and each other, left in isolation to evolve along their own distinct paths over millions of years, forgetting their homeworld as they developed their own societies and adopted new forms to fit them. The colonies were Velocitron, the speed planet, a desert world covered in massive racetracks and roadways, the entire society of which was based around speed and racing, led by the champion racer, Override. The Jungle Planet, a barbarous tribal society of Transformers who turned into animals, where might made right, ruled by the strongest warrior, the savage Scourge. And Gigantion, the Giant Planet, a massive, industrious city world, home to builders and engineers who compulsively increased the size of their planet by constructing layers of new structures on top of the old, under the supervision of their leader, Metroplex. The 4th chosen colony world was Earth, where the Transformers, led by the noble Evac, had largely remained in hiding, their shadowy presence inspiring many of mankind's myths and legends. The series followed the Transformers of present-day Cybertron as they searched for the lost colonies in order to recover the Cyber Planet Keys and use their power to close a giant black hole threatening to consume the universe. In 2010, Cybertron's take on the colonies as the result of a peaceful pre-war mission of exploration and expansion was adapted to become part of the new aligned continuity. As detailed in the novel trilogy of Transformers Exodus, Exiles, and Retribution, and the guidebook The Covenant of Primus, in this universe, the Transformers used space bridges to travel to and colonize over 200 planets, cyberforming many into metal worlds, and granting them the ability to generate Transformer life by infusing them with energy from the life-giving well of all sparks. The result was a golden age of peace and prosperity, until a plague of cosmic rust began sweeping across the planets. To stop the spread of the disease, the Transformers were forced to shut down the Space Bridge network, cutting Cybertron and the colonies off from one another. Eons later, after leaving Cybertron on the journey that would ultimately bring them to Earth, Optimus Prime's Autobots and Megatron's Decepticons found their way to some of the lost colonies, visiting Velocitron, Gigantion, and the ocean world of Aquatron, a colony that had been conquered by the alien Quintessons, where the inhabitants had adopted the forms of sea creatures. Along the way, they also encountered the Star Seekers, space pirates made up of colonists still harboring a grudge against Cybertron for abandoning them, and the wandering Muticons from the colony of Neutronia. As has become common with much of the lore laid out by the aligned continuity, the colonies have gone on to become a staple of Transformers canon, explored or at least referenced in most major media released in the 2010s, with 2018's Transformers Cyberverse in particular spotlighting the decimation of Velocitron by cosmic rust. The concept's most significant impact, though, was on IDW Publishing's comic books, which introduced their own spin on the colonies in 2014. In these stories, the colonies were founded by the Titans, giant-sized Transformers who turned into colossal city starships. Acting in service of the 13 Primes, the legendary rulers of prehistoric Cybertron, the Titans traveled to distant worlds using their built-in space bridges, seeded them with Transformer life, and became the cities in which the colonists would live. The first attempt at colonization on Antilla went disastrously wrong when the native Antillan population fought back against the Cybertronian invaders, triggering a war that reduced their planet to a lifeless husk. But 5 other worlds were successfully settled in this manner. Velocitron, a new take on the jungle planet concept named Eucharis, Caminus, a theocratic world that was the birthplace of city-speaking, which allowed Transformers to psychically commune with Titans. Division, home of the Micromaster Combiners, small Transformers born in bonded combining pairs. And Prion, colony of the tiny Minicons, which was wiped out by the anti-mechanical militia, the Black Bloc Consortia. Additionally, the Titan Carcer didn't settle on a planet, instead wandering the stars as a colony ship. In the present day, following the end of the war, Cybertron was able to re-establish contact with the surviving colonies, and together they founded the Council of Worlds to govern interplanetary relations. Sadly, this era didn't last long, as a combination of magic and science transformed the dead Antilla into the monster planet Unicron, which, in an act of retribution, devoured all the other colonies and Cybertron, leaving the survivors to build a new unified society on Earth. Following IDW's introduction of the idea, most subsequent series have also depicted the Titans as being responsible for founding colonies, with the concept being touched on in Titans Return in 2016, Cyberverse in 2019, and Rescuebots Academy in 2020, among others. The colonies have most recently been featured in 2020's Transformers Earthrise toy line. Each figure in this line came with a piece of a collectible star map, which charted the Autobots and Decepticons' original journey across the universe from Cybertron to Earth, and featured many colony worlds drawn from past series. Though sadly not reflected in the story of the tie-in Netflix animated series, a subline of exclusive figures titled the Galactic Odyssey Collection showcased groups of Transformers sent on missions to several of the colonies along the way, including Paradron, Micro, now named Micron, another version of the Jungle Planet named Biosphera, Master, renamed Dominus, and even the comet world of Botropolis from the 2003 Playschool GoBots toy line. Now, as always, this has just been an overview of Cybertron's colonies. Several of the planets have detailed histories of their own that I'll explore in dedicated episodes for each one in the future. There are many other colonies out there too, and there'll undoubtedly be many more added in the future as the Transformers universe continues to grow and Cybertron's influence continues to spread across the stars. And those are the basics on Cybertron's colonies. If you could visit one of these planets, let me know in the comments which one you'd choose. If you've enjoyed this dive into Transformers lore, give it a like and subscribe for more. Plus, you can get early access to new episodes by supporting the series on Patreon.